You know when something is so nice, you have to do it twice? Well, that's the case for the Power 13 Cookbook Full Day of Eating. If you haven't seen the first video yet, you should definitely check it out. But I had a major response asking for a part 2, and it did take me a few months, but here we are. My name is Nick. I have my master's in exercise physiology, and I make anabolic recipes like the ones I made in this cookbook and the ones on my channel. And I also do full days of eating, review food products, fitness products. So if you like that type of content, like this video and subscribe to the channel. For this full day of eating, I will be reviewing each meal. I will let you know if the calories are accurate, and I also let you know how easy or hard each meal is to make. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start out today's full day of eating just a little bit different because I'm going to see my boys' new gym, and we are also going to get a lift in. So I want to make sure I have a meal with me so I don't go 6 to 8 hours without eating and end up ravenously hungry and eating a bunch when I get back here. So we're going to make 2 meals to start the day. And this can apply to any situation. If you need to make 2 meals at the same time because you have stuff going on later, you could literally make one in the oven and then one on the stovetop at the exact same time and save yourself a bunch of time and also have meals with you so you're not hungry while you're out and overeat. That being said, the meal that needs to cook in the oven is the salted caramel apple crumble by my man, Scott Murray. This looks absolutely delicious, and it looks like it really only takes 10 minutes to get ready, and then we're gonna throw it in the oven. So we're gonna work on that first. Even though I grew up with apples, I kind of feel like apples are slept on. They have a great amount of fiber, they're super delicious, there's a bunch of different kinds, and you can use them in so many different types of meals. One thing that I don't like so far about this recipe is it says stevia to taste, and I understand like to taste is always good, but I have to have like some sort of rough idea so I kind of know what you like. Like I always say I like my stuff super sweet. If you don't like yours as sweet, don't put as much, but that's not really an option here. I'm just gonna add about 20 grams, hope for the best, and we will see what happens. As you guys know, I normally rep PE Science now for the whey casein blend, but I always keep a whey only protein around just in case I need it for recipes. And this recipe calls for a whey only protein. So always have variety at your house just in case a recipe calls for PE Science, code E4CM for 15% off, or a whey protein because you never know when you're going to need it. I don't have any toffee flavor drops, but I am gonna add some vanilla to it to kind of make up for that missing toffee flavor. Again, it says salt to taste. A gram's always better to be safe than sorry. I love these bread pan dishes because nothing ever sticks to them, even when you don't spray it. So this is what we're gonna add our mix to here. Now there's several pancake recipes in here, but the ones we are making today is the refueling or re-energizing pancakes by Bahij Kaddoura. I'm putting my own little tiny spin on this, as in I'm not using any flax seeds, but this is gonna come together super quickly. I just need to chop up some oats into oat flour, and we are pretty much ready to go. We're gonna add it to the bowl, and then we're gonna make our pancakes. Again, this Ninja is coming in clutch. I love this one because it literally came with a food processor. I got my shaker cup, which is bigger than the other one that I had, and also obviously the blender for daily ice creams, which obviously one a day, no exceptions. You see how this comes full circle now? I need to use a protein powder, and if you're gonna make waffles or pancakes, you should be using a whey casein blend. It makes it more fluffy, more airy, and just more like an actual full fat baked good versus whey, which is going to make it more like dry and pancakey, but not actually pancake soft texture, if that makes sense. So of course, again, PE Science is what I'm going with, and the vanilla protein. I'm almost ready here, so I'm gonna get this preheated. I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon to this, and there was nothing on there about sweetener or about salt, and I always like to add salt pretty much no matter what, even if it's just a pinch. And I also added in about 10 grams of Swerve, and I don't know, this is probably probably about a gram, maybe 2 grams of cinnamon. Always got to do a little batter check. Batter tastes good, so I think we're in for something real nice here in a couple minutes. And on top of it, this 28 minutes to essentially make 2 meals. Don't be afraid of the kitchen. It really does not take that long to cook a majority of meals, and find ones that are simple for you if you're just starting out. 12 minutes in total, and our pancakes, or he calls them waffles, are already done. But before we try them, I do want to go over the facts of the recipe and make sure that they are accurate. Difficulty, easy, 12 minutes, start to finish, from prep to actually being on your plate and ready to eat. Absolutely easy is very accurate. Nutrition says 357 calories. Now, I don't have any flaxseed in mine, but the calories are accurate because it would be about 40 grams or 40 calories for the flaxseed, and I'm getting 310 calories, 27 protein, 32 carb, and 8 fat. And am I worried about not getting my protein in because it's only 27 grams for the first meal? No, I purposely am going to have higher calorie and higher protein meals later so that I can make up for it and make sure I get in about 180 to 200 grams per day, which is what I'm aiming for. Nice and fluffy and soft. I think it is extremely important that for this meal, you add sweetener to this. There's no sweetener on the actual ingredient list, but even now, I love sweet. I would have probably put about 5 more grams of sweetener in here, but there is a little subtle hint of sweetness. You could always make up for it though with our good old friend, sugar-free Miss Buttersworth. Yeah, my only recommendation is to add a little bit more sweetener to it. I mean, the consistency is great, the size is good for the amount of calories you get, and I would definitely approve of the first meal. See how this is perfect? I'm literally eating my meal. My second meal of the day that I'm going to have post-workout is already done. So I'm gonna grab this out of the oven and I'm going to head over to the gym. And you know what I'm gonna have when I go over to the gym? My Gorilla Energy, my Gorilla Nitric, which is essentially Gorilla Mode, but on steroids and a couple extra ingredients. And I've been experimenting with glycerol. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, you definitely should. But I'm seeing how much glycerol actually affects the pumps. It's really for aesthetic. It's really to take pictures. It's really to feel better in the gym. And even if it's a placebo and gives you more motivation, it's like 30 cents a scoop. And I think I'm gonna end up doing a YouTube video on it in a month or two to kind of explain my experience with it. But nonetheless, everything that they have is great. Code E4CM for 10% off. I highly recommend it, and I only rock with brands that I love. All these ingredients are science-based, and I would 100% recommend them any day of the week. We are back for meal number 2, and I'm at my boys' gym, Sanchez Athletics.
What up?
In the background. Today I'm not having an ice cream, unfortunately. I always have my protein ice cream, but since I am following the Power 13 cookbook and there's only my ice cream or Muscat's ice cream, which I tried in the last full day of eating, I am going to have Scott Murray's salted caramel apple crumble. Now, this is supposed to have 409 calories, 1 fat, 56 carb, 3 fiber, and 44 protein. What I got was 423 calories, 43 protein, 56 carb, 3 fat. The reason for that is I am a little bit of a bad boy. I will add a little bit of flavor. I don't like Walden Farms caramel syrup. For 10 grams of sea salt caramel, which I put this on my caramel fudge brownie protein ice cream that I came out with last week or 2 weeks ago, we'll cover this whole thing and add a bunch of flavor. We have the rice cakes all over the top, and you could see the little apples spread throughout, and it smells really good. I'm a little bit worried because the actual flour part is essentially egg white. So I hope that I added enough sweetener and vanilla extract to make it good still. However, this has some good weight to it. For 400 calories in a post-workout meal, this is perfect as long as it's good. So the bottom got nice and brown, and then you can see it's essentially just egg white. So it's like French toast without the toast part. I want to give it a couple bites to really figure out what's good and what's not. There are some great things about this, and there's also some not so great things. Now, when you get some caramel, some rice cakes, and some apples with the egg white, you get enough sweetness to pretty much cover up the egg white. You still taste it a little bit. However, I wish I knew an amount of sugar or swerve to add to this to cover up that egg white taste. And I think the flavor drops that I didn't have, the toffee flavor drops, would have enhanced this a lot. I tried to put vanilla extract, but I don't think it was enough, because if you don't get, which there's a lot of rice cake and apple, but if you get a bite with not as much, you really taste that egg white and it's not as good. However, for 400 calories and for the weight that this is, it is definitely worth the calories. I would just be able to upgrade it next time myself, knowing what I lacked in this time. I probably would have put another 10 or 15 grams of swerve, to be honest with you. And I really need to get, I think the toffee extract comes from like My Protein. I really need to get on some of those flavor drops that they have, because they have all types of flavors, but I've never tried them before. So I'm gonna finish this up and we will check in for meal 3, which is going to be my pizza bread, and is going to take you under 10 minutes to prep, and I will time it to even show you. So I will see you then. Okay, bye. We are back at the house and it is time for meal 3. Meal 3 is my underrated or pretty much underdone pizza bread. It's so damn good. It takes like literally 10 minutes to prepare. I'm gonna time myself right now when I do it, and then we are going to eat. Now, I'm trying to only eat 2,000 calories today. To do that, I have to take calories away from a meal or 2. Instead of 4 pieces of bread, I'm going to do 3 pieces of pizza bread to cut out about 100, 120 calories. And now I get to go through my own directions and own notes and make sure that I did it right and make sure that it is easy to read. So I will let you know how that goes as soon as we're done here. If you want to support the channel, you like these videos, you haven't purchased the Power 13 cookbook, use code E4CM15 to get 15% off, and it really helps me do these type of videos because this is an all-day effort and then a lot of editing afterwards. But we're going to start our stopwatch here in 3, 2, and 1. I want to make sure this stays on. So this is even going to cut into my time, and I'm still going to make it under 10 minutes, I can guarantee you. All right, 40 seconds in, let's get it. All right, our pepperoni pizza bread's ready to go. 9:45 is what we're at. So it takes you less time to prep it than it does to cook it, because we're going to throw this in the oven for 10 minutes, and then we're ready to eat. Our pizza bread is done. But what I like to do, and what I highly suggest you do, is that you put it under the broiler for about 30 to 40 seconds. We're gonna brown that cheese and give it even more flavor. After about a minute or so, this is what we're looking like. Those pepperonis have cupped, they are nice and crispy and ready to eat. Again, this took under 10 minutes to prep. So if you're in a hurry, this is perfect any time of day. You can even make that ricotta mix beforehand, and then it's probably gonna take you 5 minutes to prep if you don't have to do that. So this is super, super quick and definitely a slept on recipe. While this cools down, let's go over the macros for this meal really quick. And for 3/4 of it, I should be getting about 366 calories. In here, I have about 398 calories. Every cheese is about 10 calories difference. My homemade marinara is a little bit higher calorie this time because I put green peppers and onions in it. So just make sure you're logging what you put in, because you have no idea. You know, you might be thinking you're eating 2,000 calories when actually you're eating 2,400, something like that, and you don't have any idea, why am I not losing weight? It's because your calories are off. So make sure you're tracking everything that you put in. And either way, 398 calories for this, along with 36 protein, 46 carb, and 10 fat, is definitely worth it. Directions were super simple to follow. And you know, if you want it lower calorie, you can use all fat-free cheese. I'm sure you could find sauce that's a little bit lower calorie, or make my original homemade marinara sauce. That would make it even lower calorie. The difficulty says easy. I would agree with that still. And it says prep time 10 minutes. And as you saw, I timed it myself. It took 9 minutes and 45 seconds for me to do on camera. So this is all accurate here. The nutrition's within 20 or 30 calories. Now let's eat. You just gotta be careful when it's in the broiler not to put it in there too long, because it started to get black. I pulled it out right at the right time, but if you leave it under the broiler for too long, the actual bread will burn. With the very little that you have to mix into the ricotta, it's very hard to tell this is even like ricotta cheese on here. All of the flavors of like the garlic powder, all that stuff really come out in this, and I think you would really enjoy this, to be honest with you. I was eating this every day, every other day for a month or so while I was making this recipe. Literally looked forward to it every time I made it. We still have 2 meals to go. I will be back in a couple of hours, so I'll see you then. We are back for meal number 4, and that is shrimp a la Merijn. Pretty sure that's how you say it. It says the prep time is 10 minutes. It doesn't seem that complicated, but I've never put broccoli in a food processor, so this should be interesting. I'll let you know how it goes, but this sounds absolutely delicious, and I cannot wait to eat it. These shrimp have been in the freezer for about 6 months. It's about time that we actually use them, and they are the big boys. So I'm gonna prep this off camera, and I will let you know all of the dirty details when we're all done. It is time to eat. The macros are right on point for this whole thing, which is like legitimately like 3 pounds. We have 917 calories, 20 fat, 81 carb, 30 fiber, and 120 protein. I substituted coconut milk because I hate coconut with regular skim fat-free milk, but that was pretty much my only substitute. I also used frozen broccoli, and I love this new Ninja I got. I used the food processor attachment, and it blended right up and made it into broccoli rice, but I will say it doesn't look that appetizing. However, aesthetic doesn't matter to me. I care about how it tastes. I'm about to probably eat a pound and a half of food. If this doesn't fill you up, I don't know what will, but I'm hoping if I have to eat this much of it, that it is absolutely delicious. Oh, and real quick, prep time 10 minutes. I'm not super fast with chopping stuff up, but I'm also not super slow. It was more like 20 minutes. This also assumes that your shrimp is already cooked and peeled. I had to do that, so that took an extra 20 minutes. And then making it was an extra about 15 minutes. So it took really about 55 minutes, and it says ready in 10 minutes. It was ready in more like an hour, but it is a huge serving. It wasn't hard, it's just tedious chopping up the vegetables. That doesn't bother me. I listen to like a YouTube video or music while I'm doing it. That was super easy, but just so you know, it is definitely not a 10-minute prep, ready in 10-minute dish. And I wouldn't say it's easy, I would say it's more like medium. It's easy to actually do it, but if I was to walk into the kitchen for the first time, I would be probably a little bit overwhelmed, which would make it like a medium for me. I'm gonna try and get a little bit of everything. See, the broccoli doesn't really rice, it more like purees. So the broccoli is a weird consistency. You get a good hit of curry. I will also say I added probably 5 to 7 grams of salt total between cooking the shrimp, the vegetables, all that stuff. So make sure you salt your food. This would probably be a lot more bland if I didn't salt it, but the curry definitely has a nice kick to it. I never utilized these snap peas, but they're pretty damn good. I was really looking forward to this meal because I need like at least one, usually 2 more voluminous meals throughout the day. I didn't have an ice cream today, so I was pretty ravenously hungry coming into this, but I'm already starting to get full. I'm not even halfway through my portion yet. This is good. I would definitely make it. If you have weird texture problems where like, I don't know, if something's kind of mushy, you might not like this because you do taste the mush of like the broccoli, but the flavor is very good and the volume for the amount of calories is absolutely unreal. And with these fat boy shrimp in here, it is tremendous. However, I understand this dish may not be for everyone. This is more like a Thai Chinese dish combination. I would almost do without the broccoli, to be honest. Or if you want to keep the broccoli in it and not have a weird texture, I just wouldn't rice it. Just keep more like small chunks of broccoli. But that's up to you. Just some tips for me. Make sure you use salt. Brings out hella flavor. And I will see you back for the last and final meal. Last and final meal of the day. And I want to start off by saying, you use shredded cheese. You get cheese that just doesn't brown the same. Let me show my pizza pot pie right now. That is how cheese should look when you brown it in the broiler. And this just doesn't melt the same. It still tastes pretty good, but it doesn't melt the same because it has like a powder substance. So always grate your own cheese. Well worth it. Second, I saved some calories on this meal. How did I do that? I used half the cheese. This was half the cheese. So we're good there. Now I can only eat half of this because this is 2 servings. If you are very hungry at dinner and you make 2 servings, you might just eat both of them. However, I just ate about a pound and a half of vegetables and shrimp about an hour and a half ago, so I'm not really hungry. So this is a perfect time to have this meal. Just be careful. Or just make 1 serving of it so you can't overeat. I got my steak already cooked and chopped. Let's just weigh out our gravy on top. Now, I don't know if Greg actually cooked or made any of these meals. Kino Ricky, I love that his name is Ricky, is the one that always likes all the pictures and everything. So I'm guessing Kino Ricky works for Greg O'Gallagher and makes these meals, but I am not 100% sure. This is 30 grams and I'm pretty good. I'll probably put another like half a spoon, but the steak, cheese, and fries are gonna be enough. Final calories for this meal, 426 calories, 35 protein, 30 carb, 18 fat. Also, I made the fries in the air fryer instead of the oven. Makes them a lot more crispy, makes them faster, so it's quicker to eating time, and I just like them better in the air fryer in general, so I would highly recommend using an air fryer instead of the oven, but either way would work. This was a lot easier than the last meal. This took me probably 30 minutes versus the other one took me 55. So I would still say that this one is easy, but there's multiple components. So be aware of that. I would still call it easy, but it's on like the upper edge of easy / medium, like lower medium level. And then like I said, I was able to save calories because I didn't put extra cheese and extra gravy. So the calories line up pretty well with what's posted in the book as well. I already told you in the full day of eating Noel Diesel style, potatoes are underrated. Fries are really easy to make. Wedges are really easy to make. Those little potato, like mini potatoes, you could literally just oil them up and throw them right in the air fryer. Highly underrated. I highly suggest you do it. I'm actually making a potato recipe as we speak that you guys will absolutely love. Be ready to make some potatoes if you haven't before. What can I say really? We got fries, we have gravy, we have steak, and we have cheese. If you don't overcook anything, it's gonna be absolutely delicious, and it is delicious. I would highly recommend this if you could fit it into your calories and you don't have a huge appetite so you just don't overeat on it, but very good regardless. Again, use code E4CM15 for 15% off your Power 13 cookbook. It is well worth the $1.60 a recipe. You have 42 recipes, 13 different creators from all over the world making all different types of recipes. So I would highly recommend it. Hella recipes on the way, more full days of eating on the way, and until next time, I will see you in that next one. Doucette.